Hey, welcome to the Jesus Magnet podcast. I'm Joel Hillary, and we have Todd. How you doing, Todd?
Hey, how are ya?
I'm spectacular.
I can see that.
I'm really happy for this one. This one's going to be cool because we have another Australian coming on the show. Yeah, live.
Live in studio.
Live Australian.
Sorry to all, I guess Josh's friends for having to listen to this horrendous Australian accent.
I actually really love Australians. They're awesome. Australians.
They bring so much money. They bring so much joy into our community.
Yeah. How you doing, Josh?
I am very well. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Oh, it is such an honor to have you on. And so Josh Rann.
Rann all the way here.
He ran all the way here.
Australia with my kangaroo.
And he's from Sydney.
Yes, Sydney, Australia.
And how old are you, Josh?
I am 20 years old.
So young.
And is it true for the conspiracy theorists out there that you made it on the first flight to New Zealand from the bubble opening 40 minutes after it was announced?
Yes, that was me. I was the mysterious flight that came in.
Yeah, I remember seeing the articles. That mysterious flight from Qantas flying in. Qantas has not said anything about it, and then you told me.
Then you rock up at church.
Yep. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm here.
Yeah. That article is true. Yeah, I came off that plane.
That was me.
It's super weird. Like, not many people do this, but that Josh has come straight into our church and fitted in like a puzzle piece. Like everyone here gets along with him,
you guys,
which is great.
Oh, it's been so great getting to know you all. Such amazing people.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's good. It was so funny because you came in to church and you're just, essentially one of the new people. Mm. And when we talked to you, you're like, yeah, no, I'm only here for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3-week trip.
Yeah, 3-week trip for work.
Yep.
And then like 2 days later, I take my wife for our 5-year anniversary to the circus.
Oh, yeah.
Super romantic with like hundreds of other people. And Josh shows up with all of my friends.
You remember, this is you two and Josh like, sitting there.
And it's like, oh, cool. Man, that's sweet. And that's what I love about Christians is they literally they're one big family. It doesn't matter if you're Australian or German or from Taiwan or wherever.
Definitely.
It's like Scouts. Like I was told about Scouts.
Never been a scout.
Well, I was. No need to brag, but I tied a few knots. Anyway, yeah, so like you'd go overseas and like these adults will do their scarf around their neck, their scout scarf around their neck, and people would like see them out the window and be like, you're a scout. Come stay on my couch. Like,
wow.
Come stay here for free. Yeah, like super close-knit family around the world.
Yeah, global cult. Yeah. No, just kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Josh, you're going to share your story with us. Super keen to hear it. And let's just start at the start.
Kick it off. Before I'll go on, so I'm over here from Sydney on a 3-week work trip.
What do you do?
I work at Sydney International Airport. I'm a ramp.
Wrong airport, mate.
It's a ramp operator.
How long's that ramp?
Title. How long is
it's
the
got to
ramp?
get from Queenstown to Sydney.
Yeah,
so.
big one. A lot of people.
Sorry.
Oh, you just got to operate it in Sydney from Queenstown, New Zealand? Is that right?
Like a drone.
Yep. Yeah. It's all remote stuff. I could just do it from home, but they sent me over. Just why not spice it up?
Oh, that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. So what ramp operating is driving around on the tarmac and like loading and unloading planes. So back in Sydney, I operate like big machines as well that like drive up to the planes and take all the big cargo out.
So much responsibility.
Yeah, it's kind of getting increasingly so because doing the FMC operating, I'm responsible for putting all the locks up for like these 5,000 kilo like pallets.
Far out.
And if I do it wrong or I displace the weight, like the plane will fall out of the sky. So it's
but not actually, right?
No, but like actually. So
snap.
You got to be pretty switched on. Yeah. And
what a guy.
Yeah, and now I'm doing like headset stuff. So it's called receive and dispatch.
Cool.
And I like plug in, talk to the pilot, and like guide him on what's happening down below, and like do the pushback. And
wow, all that at 20 years old.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
So cool.
So bizarre because
did you as a little boy sort of dream that up and be like, I know what I wanted to be when I'm older?
Great question.
Or did you fall into that sort of job, or how did it come about?
So in high school, I worked at McDonald's, the Mickey D's, for 4 years, from year 8 to year 12. So around about, just before I was 14 to like 18.
That's our year 7. So you imagine working at McDonald's when you're year 7.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
That's real young.
Yeah.
That's pretty young, eh?
Yeah, seriously.
I would have not have been trustworthy to do that job at that age.
One fry for
Actually,
you.
I was shocking at that age.
For me.
Yeah.
It was good. It was...
Yeah, seriously.
All right.
So my brother, who was 4 years older than me, was also working there, and he kind of started young. Mum like got him to start working young because he was like a bit socially awkward. So it was like good for him to kind of get out and have independence and stuff like that. And then I kind of did it as well when I was younger and just like earn my own money. Anyways, 4 years goes by. I'm like, yep, I've had enough of McDonald's. And then, I don't know, hear about, it was actually so bizarre. It was kind of, it's one of the most memorable kind of peace God moments I've had actually. Or not one of the most memorable, but recent. I was talking to one of my brother's actual close mates, and he mentioned to me about this job that he's doing in the airport Menzies. He talked about the hours and the money and the ramp operating. And like as soon as I heard it, I just had so much peace about it.
Wow.
And I knew I was kind of called to go there.
Huh.
And then, because I don't know, it was so out of nowhere, but it really tailored to kind of how I was and like what I could do. It was so bizarre. And ended up applying, had this group interview stuff, and just got employed. And then next thing I know, I'm driving to the airport at like 5 a.m, like 5 mornings a week. And
wow,
it's a good job. It's
it's
such a blessing, and it's so chill.
Yeah.
And it's like really good money. It's an amazing opportunity. And I had worked through COVID because we had a lot of cargo contracts, so not passenger stuff. So yeah, pretty hectic. But
you didn't lose your job.
No.
Like many unfortunate circumstances.
Seriously, like I had actually a mate who at the same time went into Qantas, and he just like copped it and was stood down like quite quickly and stuff like that. And because he went into casual with them, I was super jealous at the time because like Qantas has so many benefits. You get like all these like flying discounts, free parking at the airport. But he got stood down like quite quickly, and I don't think he was eligible for the JobKeeper scheme either that we had in Australia, which was like $1,500 a fortnight for anyone who was either part-time employed or casual over 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But started working this job, been there a year and like 19 months, and then couple weeks ago they were like, we're sending people over to New Zealand, like reply if interested, and straight away I was like, oh, it's not for me. Like I didn't even bat an eye because I don't know, they send out emails all the time. I barely read half them.
It's like the one you did.
The one I did look at, I was like, oh, no way. And then I kind of mentioned it to Mum. She's like, oh, it's an amazing opportunity. I'm like, oh, like so young, be super lonely, yada yada. And then, I don't know, spoke to a mate about it actually, who travelled on his own to India before COVID happened, but after school. And he was there for like a couple months, and he was just such an advocate for travelling on your own, and then kind of prayed about it a bit, and then just was like, no, like I heard to go. So that was sick because it's been amazing. So many memorable things, and diving into my faith more, and it's been
amazing.
Refreshing. Yeah, it's cool.
So have you always been a Christian, Josh?
Great question. So it kind of ties into my story, I suppose. So born and raised in a Christian household. A Baptist church, really. My parents actually met at like a youth Baptist, like in the area as well. When they were like 16. So they've been Christians for a long time and kind of raised me, I guess, the same way that they've lived a long time. And me and my brother, we went to church. It was actually at our school. in a bar. Represent. Great school, amazing school. Would recommend it to anyone. Would send my kids there. Anyways, so went to the church there, but it was pretty boring. Like just standard kind of go in, sit. Like I'm so young and I'm just kind of in this service, and it's like, you know, this word, and then it's like, and then, I don't know. It never really stood out to me, and being so young, like it's difficult, I'd say, you know, for me at least, to be super like cognitive with it and just like,
I think that's really common.
What does this all mean?
Yeah. You know, like so many young Christians these days go into church and it's happy clappy and it's really fun when you're a kid. And then all of a sudden you can think for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like,
wait,
I actually have no idea why I'm here.
Yeah.
I get the whole Jesus story and all that, but like I've never driven very deep myself.
Seriously?
You know, I've heard it all, but I haven't heard God talk to me. All that. It's so common.
Yeah. Seriously.
Really, a lot of young people go through that, and around that high school age, maybe a little bit younger as well.
Yeah. Should we carry on with your story before we get too deep into
for sure
the rest of it?
Oh, definitely, sure. Okay. I was just gonna say quick side point, but I'd say kind of the benefit, regardless of the whole like, I don't know, being brought up in church and kind of not knowing really until you think for yourself, is that in my experience anyways, is that it breeds like an inherent foundation kind of for like good and bad, especially I would say, or like moral kind of compassing,
for sure.
I suppose. And
100%.
I think that foundation, I guess, is more likely to lead to a life with God, I'd say, you know, maybe.
The Bible says, teach those in the ways of the Lord, and or discipline those in the way of the Lord, I think it is what it says, and they will not stray far from it.
Yeah, totally.
Proverbs something. And it's definitely true.
Yeah, seriously.
That moral ground that gets understood well is from the foundation of faith that your parents have. Yeah.
Seriously.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're growing up in a church and you find it relatively boring. Where do we go from here?
We go from here. So I get to like my later-ish, not later years, but like I'm growing up kind of around the age of like 9 and 10, and they have a youth, and like I kind of start going to that in our primary school, which is kindergarten to year 6.
Yep.
Which is from ages like 5 to 11, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. And start going to youth. That's like fun. It's cool. Same kind of story. Like I'm going because it's like cool. I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah.
But still super young. But my kind of personal faith story starts around about year 5. I'm going to get the dates and ages wrong. So anyone who, like Mum, if you're listening to this, I'm probably got the age. Like, this is just rough.
You were 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
good.
Look, I'll say I was like 9 or 8. And then my father, my dad, Trevor, gets diagnosed with like a brain tumor. And it's pretty aggressive from what I'm led to believe. And my dad had like his own tech company. He was like super like into computers. That's why I was raised playing computer games with him and my brother. It was so fun. We used to always play Age of Empires and like Warcraft and stuff.
Yes.
Oh,
the good stuff.
the days. And I don't know, he was always around like them old phones that just had hectic radiation, and I don't know, yeah, there's a million theories out there, I guess, but it was just diagnosed with this brain tumor, and it was pretty hectic. So all of year 5, I'll say, so when I was about 10, he just had this like full-on chemo and just like radiation, and then he kind of had, that was like a year journey, and then there was a bit of recovery and like huge diet changes to like help him out through all this stuff, and it was pretty intense. Super foreign though, like to me, like I don't know, the severity of it and just like what's happening, because I'm quite young still, and like I'm barely thinking for myself, I'd argue. That kind of comes in mid teenage years, I'd say. Yeah, he gets that. Then he has a year of remission, actually. That's when I came to Queenstown last, which was like 9 years ago.
Wow.
Which is, pretty interesting. Oh, so the dates are lining up. Yeah, 9 years ago. Yeah. Sweet. And yeah, that's when we came to Queenstown. That was so fun because like we did the luge. Him, like my brother and I actually did that last Monday again on my own, which was special. It was like nice to kind of revisit that. I remember doing it with them.
That's so cool.
But yeah, we did like the zip lining, the shot over jet, and like Hobbiton. We all love Lord of the Rings and all that. So that was special when we came. But after we came back from that trip, it like started to go downhill again, kind of thing, and just like had come back, and it was just spread kind of everywhere. And he ends up passing away in between primary school and high school. So high school's year 7 to 12. Primary school's kindergarten to year 6.
Yep.
So in between year 6 and year 7, he passes away before my high school, I think. And yeah, it was pretty full on. Like he'd been living at a home for a while, and like at this hospital, because he was like deteriorating and needed all like constant kind of surveillance. So it was like a 4-month period where he kind of wasn't around. So it didn't have that shock element, I suppose, but it was pretty.
Did you say 4 months it took from being diagnosed?
No, sorry. 4 months. So it was like a 2-year kind of journey.
Okay.
So it was like 8 months of like chemo radiation, then like 9 months of like remission.
Yeah.
And then like 7 months of going downhill to like passing away.
Wow.
And so 4 of those final 7 months, he was actually in hospital.
Yeah.
So not at home. So those 4 months, I guess, I didn't have the shock factor. You know, he's just suddenly out of my life because he wasn't around for a while. But and then he ends up passing away. And it was pretty weird. Like, again, so young. I always say that I never really understood it. You know, what I remember about my dad is, you know, the video games and the fun stuff. But, you know, he'd like get angry at me because I wouldn't brush my teeth or something. Like, that's not all my memories, but it's like, you know, I was so young. I didn't understand or have that adult relationship with my father, which is definitely sad because, like, we would have got along heaps well. But yeah, he passed away, and at the beginning of my high school years. So that was interesting kind of trajectory for it all, I suppose.
How did that affect your, like, the rest of your family as well?
Yeah, so it was really hard on Mum. I think, you know, losing your spouse, is that the right word for husband? Spouse. Yeah.
Yep. Spouse, partner.
Yeah. Definitely. Like, you're losing your spouse, and they'd been together for a long time. I don't know the numbers, but yeah, it was difficult for her, and it was really difficult for my brother. So this is where he kind of comes into the picture in this story, kind of for me, because I'm more like my mum, and my brother was like my dad. My dad, quite shy, introverted. The same with my brother, kind of socially awkward, shy to himself, but like highly, highly intelligent. Right? This guy puts his mind to anything, like he could achieve it.
Wow.
Like Asperger's.
I'm so jealous of people that can do that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like,
it's awesome.
The example I give for my brothers in like the way he was growing up. We'd play this like old Battlefield, like 1978 or something, and there'd be this like multiplayer online thing. And he was like, I was like in year 4, so I was like 9. He was like 13, and he got like heavy into coding, like these multiplayer maps with this clan. So he codes these maps like pretty hectic, right? He'd spend like a lot of time on it. So he did that in year 8, and then for year 12, in his like major work for IT, he submitted all the coding he did in year 8 and got like a 97.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
seriously,
it was
so good.
Literally like,
so
and it was just
cool.
what he did in his spare time, like, and he just like got good at it.
Yeah,
and,
I love that.
yeah. So he was just so smart. in that way, I suppose. But yeah, so it affected him a lot when Dad passed away, because that was who he was really like, and who I guess in a lot of ways he felt understood by, because he didn't open up to many other people.
Sorry, you might have said this already. Is he older or younger?
So brother? Sorry, yeah, he's 4 years older than me.
Okay.
And yeah, so I was like I'm like my mum. She's super social. Yada yada. So yeah, it took a big impact on him, in that way. And so in my high school years, I'd kind of sum it up as the next 3 years, from year 7 to about year 10. So he's my father figure at home. So it's just mum, him, and I. So Mitch, Anne, and Josh. So I'm Josh. And my mum's name is Anne. Anne Rann. It's pretty funny. Literally ANNRANN. Anyway.
Oh, so good.
Rann, awesome.
Yeah. So it was just us three at home. And yeah, he's my father figure. But I end up getting caught up like with the wrong crowd, like pretty hardcore. Just doing the wrong things, and like kind of turning into, I guess, quite an angry person for a little while, and thinking, placing myself above others, and like, yeah, just getting caught up in like drugs and partying and drinking. And it was at quite a young age as well. It was bizarre, and it was definitely facilitated by a couple things. Like there were people at work, like my managers, that would supply that stuff, and then again, yeah, my brother. So he, around the age when Dad passes away, he also has like a collapsed lung. It's called like a pneumothorax or something. I don't know.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like tall, slender, so they're like prone to it because he's not really athletic, or wasn't by that stage. So he was around 17, and I'm around 13. So Dad's kind of passed away, and he has this collapsed lung. And a result of this collapsed lung is it's like one of the most like painful kind of things to have happen to you. And he was on a hectic amount of painkillers, and like he'd tried like party like drugs or whatever before, but nothing crazy. But when he kind of got a taste of these painkillers, and maybe mixed with how he was in society and his kind of nature, and losing Dad, and I guess maybe perfect storm in some ways, for the devil to creep in, and just he found like this huge kind of not reliance, but just I guess a love for it, and yeah, so after he like kind of finished with the operations, he'd linger on for a long time, like with multiple pharmacists, just like getting like painkillers, saying that he has residual pain, and by the end of it, he ends up getting blacklisted by like all pharmacies within like a 10-kilometer radius, because like he's just going in and getting all these painkillers, yada yada. But yeah, he just gets super into that, and then him being so kind of tech orientated was just like really into the dark web and like getting just like drugs delivered. So it's like he didn't have a local like whatever. He'd just buy it all online. Wow. So just free roam. No worries, no kind of accountability to it. And like he worked at Macca's, so he made his own money, and he very much thought that he could kind of do it all, like live both worlds kind of thing. So be like a high functioning kind of drug user, because it leads to heroin addiction.
Yeah, of course.
Or morphine addiction. But he thought he could kind of do both kind of worlds, like have this addiction that he'd just get something like pleasure from, and then live a life.
It ends up when you go in this high, like if you use a scale, you might roughly live on a 5, and then this drug brings you up to like a 10 straight away. But then when you come down again, it puts you on a 4. Yeah. And so then you use it again, but it only brings you up to a 9. Yeah. And then it brings you back down to a 3. So you're reliant on this drug eventually, or any drugs eventually, just to maintain the usual 5 that most people are on. Otherwise you get insanely depressed, really. Is that similar to what started happening with your brother?
I'd say so. Yeah, like he was a very kind of isolated person, and like I guess didn't open up to many people. And yeah, I guess he just grew this huge dependence on it. and it just kind of took over his life. I remember the day actually I was at school, and one of the blokes in like an older year who worked at Macca's with us, he came up to me. He's like, "Your brother just got fired from McDonald's." I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
At this point, I didn't really know about his kind of usage, and I was doing my own stuff with my own friends at that point, but nothing like that. And he goes, "Yeah, your brother got fired for like there was needles found in like the change room because he'd use at work." And yeah, it was like, whoa. But because I was kind of involved in that world, it wasn't this like, oh, tell mum or like, oh, like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's kind of full on, I suppose, but weird. But anyways, yeah, towards the year 9 and 10 kind of stage, the friends at school I was with that I kind of was in the wrong crowd, they actually got expelled. So I ended up hanging kind of with one mate, my brother and one of his mates, and we all get kind of close. But we never do the same like hardness of things that he was doing. But he would always kind of progress us towards it, if that makes sense. Like he always wanted someone to do like what he was using with. And as I said, this is my kind of father figure, and it was just kind of a bad path, I suppose. Like it was definitely spiraling, and throughout, for me, faith wise, like I went to youth kind of throughout, like everything, every stage.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was just going to ask. I'm like, were you still attending church regarding all this sort of thing?
So not so much. Oh yeah, I would go to church. I'd go to church and mainly youth. So I'd go with.
By the way, for anybody that's listening, this is the reason to stay. Like, if somebody, a brother or sister in Christ, in church, ends up going down a dark path or anything like that, like, we're all still human, and nobody's perfect except for Christ. Yeah. So through all that, like, you've got to be there for your brothers and sisters. Like, they actually need you more than ever. They don't need you to tell you that what they're doing is wrong. Yeah. They need you to love them. Yeah. Yeah. They need you to love them and love them abundantly, more than ever. This happened very similar in my testimony. I was very, very, not to the same extent with the drugs, but in a similar sense that was still going to church and stuff. Nobody knew. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Wow. Yeah. But it was church that actually kept me sane. Yeah. Through it. Yeah. Was that similar for you? Yeah, I'd say so. It definitely added an element of peace and kind of fed that foundation that I said I had earlier, in growing up in church, but not having, a true kind of encounter and revelation for myself. It kind of fed, it sustained that little ball, inside of me, I'd say. And I went because of a friend. Shout out to Jordan. He's such a sick bloke, such a sick mate of mine. And he was at my school for a year, then he moved to a different school, but we stayed in touch for like 3 years because I went to his youth. And, legendary times, so good. He knew about, I guess, what was going on, but it never impacted anything. Well, and it's actually, now looking back on it, like what the preface you kind of gave to what I'm saying, makes me think, wow, like it didn't even faze him. Like, it was bizarre, but kept going to youth. And that's actually what most people don't realize is that with Christianity, it's not change first and then we'll accept you later. Yeah, yeah. It's we accept you and we meet you, like God says, I'm going to meet you where you're at. Yeah, yeah. Right now. Yeah. As a dirty, rotten sinner. Yeah. I always like to think I'm like this grubby thing, and God's like, I still love you. Yeah. With everything I've got. Yeah. And if you imagine the prodigal son. Yeah. And that story when the father's running out to the field once he comes back. And if he would have had pretty much no clothes. Yep. He would have been covered in crap. and just like BO like not somebody that the father runs, like if somebody wants to run and hug.
Yeah.
So the fact that he goes and does that is such a good illustration on like what Christians do for each other, regardless of how bad it gets.
Yeah.
Like they're covered in crap,
Yeah.
run abundantly and hug them, put a ring on their finger, put a cloak on them.
Yeah.
They're back, sort of thing.
I like that. It's not just the father; it's also kind of your fellow brothers in Christ.
100%.
That's so cool. I love that. But
Sorry for butting in.
no, that's okay. No, that's good.
You're at this camp with your friend.
Oh yeah. Oh, legendary camp. We played probably the best game of Spotlight I've ever played in my life. Do you guys know what Spotlight is?
That is the best game.
Oh my gosh.
Ever.
Legit, this legendary, it will forever be legendary, but this like 4-hour game, like on this huge hill, pitch black, everyone's like fully blacked out, like clothing wise.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, it was insane.
That sounds
like
terrible for me, though.
3 spotters, everyone got ticks.
Oh.
It was awful.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you're playing Spotlight in Australia.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like, God put all the deadly animals there, man.
Yep.
Yeah, stuff that.
Yeah. Like my mate actually got one in, I think his eye, and it was just this hectic thing. He had to go to the hospital or something. Oh, it was bad.
There's a running joke on New Zealand with Australia regarding how God created everything. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't.
right.
Enlighten me.
All right, so in the beginning, when God's creating everything, okay, he creates the first bit of land, and it's Australia, right? And that's where it's like his test site. That's where he finds and puts together just all these crazy animals like kangaroos and platypuses, and then and then he sees how deadly he can make the tiniest things in the world.
Box jellyfish.
Yeah, and he just like experiments with all this stuff, and then as he goes around the planet, right, he's sort of like fizzling it out and like perfecting it, and then by the time he gets back to New Zealand, it's
done.
perfect.
Yeah,
and we have nothing that can kill us.
there are like no.
And the most beautiful country ever.
I don't think I've seen a spider here.
Oh, you do, but then people freak out. But they're not only like the size of like your fingernail, your tiny finger.
Yeah, like.
I mean, there's a serious extreme to only like a small bit of sea between our 2 countries. Eh?
We do have like a whitetail spider, which can cause damage. But
that was from Australia.
Everything
we
was
brought it over. Yeah, we were just like, you guys can have something.
I'm not even kidding.
Oh yeah,
it was from Australia.
Because we have them. Yeah, we have them.
Yeah,
we definitely have them.
Sorry, butting in there. Did you like the creation story?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
We love Australia.
We don't really have anything for New Zealand. I mean, I know you. Yeah,
wherever it just says sheep.
Yeah, just sheep.
You bunch of sheep.
Yeah, bunch of sheep. Yeah, and like you're good at like rugby. You got like the All Blacks. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
It is impressive how mighty we are at rugby for being such a tiny country. It does blow me away a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. But so my faith kind of throughout my recklessness was kind of always there, and I went to youth with this Jordan friend, and I don't know, just kind of coexisted, not really having not. I hadn't kind of made the choice, I'd say, and like changed my ways, and lived in the what does it say in Romans? Be like I hadn't been transformed by like the renewal of my mind, kind of thing, and it was just the thing that I did, like I'd kind of done for a while. Is like go to youth, keep in touch with Jordan, and
good social club.
Yeah, but I like the Jesus stories. I always believed, and like. I prayed the prayer when I was like 5, I think, with my dad in my room. Salvation or whatever. But so then it gets to around year 10, and I'm around 16, and my stepfather comes into the picture, Ben. Probably one of the biggest blessings, or the biggest blessing in my life, and. He's just from Newcastle, up north, and mum, like dad always told mum, like move on, like find someone else, because mum's mum didn't find someone for like 40 years. She'd been like alone or something. Yeah. And Dad was like, I want you to find someone else and move on. Like, and she was like, yeah. So yeah, she meets Ben, and it was actually at it was Hillsong Church. It was through a mutual friend. So Mum, after Dad passed away, she kind of was invited to like a color conference, Hillsong.
Yep.
And then just had this kind of full, I guess, revelation and
that's
awakening.
Women's conference?
I think so, yeah. But had this kind of awakening. It's a bit of a cliche word, but like, because she'd just grown up in Baptist, like, and then went to this Hillsong conference and I guess had an encounter. I don't really know the intricacies of it, but just like got really into Pentecostalism, I suppose, and all that, and then made heaps of friends and did some serving here and there, and then one night was introduced and brought together by friends to meet this Ben fellow. And Mum tells the story that like as soon as they sat next to each other, like they both like heard like and extremely felt kind of from God, just like their souls and spirits like intertwining, and like they knew as soon as they sat next to each other like that they were going to get married, and like
oh my God,
pretty full on. I wish it was like that for everyone. But just it was
Todd, please don't get that feeling.
We're sitting next to each other for the visually impaired people.
He's just looking at me and he's like, No, we're both married to a woman.
Yes.
And currently you have like the remnants of a cold. So
that's they kind of come together in that way. And then how do I tie this in? So Ben kind of starts living with us relatively soon after that kind of happens, because home was pretty crazy. So Mitch was like getting much more out of hand, and like I was still kind of on a bad path as well, and just lying, manipulating, reckless, etc. And brother kind of tenfold that, starting to kind of like open use at home and stuff like that. Sorry, I just shouldn't sip water in the middle of literally talking. Starting to open use, and like he never stole, from us, and he never like hurt, anyone, and it was just extremely stressful. Everyone was just an inconvenience to kind of the way he lived his life.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just getting crazy. So I forget kind of how it all happens, but Ben ends up kind of moving in, or like he's around a lot more, or like in the home, and I kind of cling to him pretty quick, I suppose, like for one, not really having a father figure.
Yeah.
And two, just he kind of comes into our lives and just, for me personally, just completely transforms my mind and like shows me like practically what it is daily living a relationship with God, and how amazing it can be, and like just shows a relationship with God like I'd never seen it before, and it just the light switches, the penny drops, and it was amazing because he kind of came into our lives and just showed so much unconditional love, like especially to my brother, who was one, not welcoming, two, like drug using and just reckless, and this is just another inconvenience to him, and like he's trying to not win him over, but I don't know, any stepdad kind of dynamic, it's him especially being older, like it was just crazy. And he just comes in and shows so much unconditional love, and just like, because I'm quite open and I talk about it a lot, so it's like because of that, like he'll hear and then share and like have conversation with me and always link it to like God, Bible, like God perspective, and just in ways that like I'll be like, oh, but or I'll ask this question, and then he'll like go into that, and it was like, just this kind of personal, like at home, just like
discipling.
Yeah.
And he's discipling you and your brother.
Yeah, seriously.
And that is probably, that's the last thing Jesus told us to do. He said, go into all the world and make disciples. And that is the biggest thing that the planet Earth lacks today is disciples. We've got an abundance of information and knowledge, yet nobody to actually walk us through how to understand, how to learn, how to lean on, how to extract this sort of wisdom, godly wisdom, and how to apply it to our mind, our soul, and our emotions to be grounded in the foundation of God. And that is something that only can happen through discipleship. You could listen to a billion podcasts of the best preachers on the planet all day long and not actually get any discipleship. So, and it's one of those things that you have to be taken under the wing of somebody else. So, anybody that's listening, pretty much what Josh is saying is like the importance. He grew up his whole life in church and was still kind of walking away from God. With the full knowledge. And it's like, why? What was missing there? And the moment that Ben came in, he just that changed everything, right? And it's not that you're leaning on Ben.
Oh no,
that Ben's just able to apply scripture to you and teach you. You have to be able to be taught. You have to be able to be discipled, and that means being open, being humble, being ready to receive that, and being able to receive correction as well. That one, in our hypersensitive generation today, nobody can receive correction.
Feedback.
Anybody that's listening, if you got offended by that, too bad.
It's a lot easier to, like Pastor Corey was speaking about that the other night, about having your own faith, but like a lot of the time someone has to disciple you to show you God's love. And like, because if you're walking away from it because you don't understand it, like when someone comes into your room and like into the house and you're saying like you just lit the place up.
Seriously.
Like bringing God's, bringing the Holy Spirit, bringing Jesus into that room. Like definitely helps to get someone back into that swing of knowing Jesus for themselves.
Totally. And like it's not as well it's not as well that like my mum didn't or anything. It's just, I don't know, such a familiar relationship that I've just always grown up with. It's like also
some people
very inherent as well.
I don't think parents a lot of the time are the ones to decide. Well, I mean sometimes they are, but you want to have somebody that
like external to that, I'd say.
Someone with a bit more of an objective look at your life. Totally. Like your parents are probably quite biased. Oh yeah, my son's perfect. There's nothing wrong with him at all.
And it's funny as well, actually, to this day, because like I've been very close to my mum for like a long time, like always really, because we were so alike, or we are. And
shout out to your mum. What's her name?
I love you, Mum, Anne.
Oh yeah, Anne, that's right.
The God conversations, like now, it's just it's amazing. Anyways, so Ben comes in. And that's where I kind of start making changes for the better. I stop, like doing drugs and lying and manipulating and being so aggressive and just it was amazing. And like there was a lot of, I guess, positive feedback from people around me. Like I remember there was kind of a conscious decision one day that I made, and like people would say to me like a month or two later, like you've changed, like
wow.
That's awesome.
I
love when that happens. You know?
Noticeable change for the better.
Seriously.
Well, that's when the scripture comes alive as you will know them by their fruit.
Seriously.
And like you had become a new tree, a new creation, you know, and then you were bearing new fruit, and people are like, whoa, man, seriously. That's like love, joy, peace, what are the fruits of the Spirit?
Should we play
Love, joy, peace.
It's on their other podcast.
Kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Galatians 5:22 and 23.
That's the second time I've heard you sing that. It's so good.
That is pretty good. Songs are the best way to remember things.
Yeah,
100%.
preschool teacher.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day.
Oh my gosh. The planet song is one for me.
The planet one?
Yeah, it's like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. These are the... Yeah, I don't know the rest.
So the same melody to the stuff.
Yeah.
I got a different planet song.
Oh.
You want to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Alright. First comes Mercury, so hot near the sun.
Oh.
Second comes
more
Venus,
detail.
the very next one. Third is the Earth, a lovely place to be. Fourth is Mars, as red as it can be. Fifth is Jupiter.
Yep,
with
yep.
the biggest of them all. That's it.
Yeah.
Next
Saturn.
is Saturn with rings around them
Yeah.
all or something.
Yeah.
Next is Neptune.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
Is
don't
it
count.
Neptune?
Do you count Uranus or not?
Uranus.
Oh, no. It's... Which is the one that was like...
Pluto.
Yes.
That's at the end though.
Yeah, sorry.
I can't actually remember
Killed the song.
past Jupiter, I think.
Okay, cool. Well, we got the picture. That was good.
But yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so...
So off topic. Flat Earth, eh? No, I'm kidding.
Ben comes in and just shows so much love, and I don't know what the timeline is for it, but I think it was around a year that he was kind of around, and I started making choices for the better and kind of transforming my life, and it was great. But my brother just kind of kept going with his ways, but like received his love. I remember, so he baptized us like in our pool, and in like the Holy Spirit. And it was one day. So he got me and him to do it. Neither of us really wanted to. Like we did. Like we were like, yeah, we'll do it. But like, I don't know, it was like a cold day. I don't know. I just got home from school. I was like, are you kidding me? Oh yeah. And it was, I don't know, it was an amazing moment. I feel, because 2 months later, actually, I think around about, Mitch, ends up, I wake up one Thursday morning and, I remember it so vividly. I wake up, I open the door and it's like a hallway on the second story, and, my room's, his room is directly to the right at the exit of my room. And then there's a hallway down the hall, and there's the bathroom. And all the lights were on, and it was super weird. And my brother had just started this new job at like Australia Post. Right. And all the lights were left on. It was super bizarre. Even his room light and the bathroom fan. And like, I went downstairs, and went, down the hall, whatever, went to the toilet, whatever I did. And then I came back, and I like went to check in his room. And as I'm opening this door, like this deep, like the strongest sense of like fear and hesitation just like comes into my, like over my body, and like I'm pushing this door open, and it's bizarre because in my natural mind, my brother isn't home. Why am I scared to go in my brother's room? Like I'm 16, just about to turn 17. Like I'm not a little kid. Like he shouldn't be home in my natural mind, but just the strongest, like kind of dark presence, I suppose, or like fear just comes over me, and I push the door open, and I like stop. I stop at this like certain point, and I just go back into my room, and I'm like, I'll leave it for whoever. I'll do it later. I'll look later. And then I get dressed, go downstairs and have breakfast, and then Mum as well just kind of comes straight down, and I yell out to Ben upstairs. I'm like, Mitch left his light on, or the lights are left on. He walks into the room and like turns the corner. He's like dead on the floor. He'd like overdosed. It wasn't on purpose. He wasn't suicidal or anything. But he'd there's a couple of theories, but he was like kind of heckling this bloke, I think from Melbourne, that he bought it off the dark web online because he didn't give him enough in the last order, blah, blah, blah. I think he was really annoying. He's, quite extreme. So I think maybe, I don't know, this bloke's it was cut with carfentanil, which is like elephant tranquilizer.
Yeah,
so there's like fentanyl, and then there's carfentanil, which is like tenfold stronger or something.
Yeah.
And that was in the kind of the deaths, the biopsy, whatever.
Autopsy.
Yeah, autopsy. But yeah, just so that was super sudden, and it was crazy because I don't know, in the house it just kind of got to this extreme stage where it was just like he's going to end up wiping out a family because he'd use and drive. He's going to end up killing himself or just ending up in jail. Like it was so crazy, just so much stress and like,
oh my gosh.
yeah, it was full on. And then was just dead on the floor one Thursday morning before school, and it was crazy. Like Ben, I remember the yell and just like call the ambulance, and yeah, so he passes away, and that was crazy. It's kind of hard to explain, but like in one sense it was like a huge relief. Like the pressure at home was like nuts, like, and what it was doing to mum, and like what it eventually, like, heroin addicts can live for like 30 years and just tear apart families and destroy homes and like cost so much money. And you know, we tried to get him into rehab. I remember I was on my year 10 global ed, but then he ended up leaving because of this girl and blah blah blah. And yeah, it just passed away one morning, and it was in one sense a huge relief, but in the next it was just like,
well, it'll be,
this is crazy. Like
Jesus accepts us with all our flaws, knowing that we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And some people think that's because you don't shower every day, or it can be the extreme of being addicted to heroin. And that doesn't mean, you know, that he didn't, you know, believe in Jesus.
No, so yeah, he was...
And he did, right?
Oh yeah, totally. He was at Hillsong Bible College.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
my brother did that.
Yeah.
And
he was doing sound there.
Yeah.
Alongside the study.
So sometimes, and I see addiction, especially something like that, as a kind of a mental sickness. You know, if you could choose to remove it, anybody would.
Yeah.
You know, and it's an addiction of the mind and the body, and he would suffer, of course, and hate the fact that he's addicted to it. And sometimes God, and I've said this on the podcast before, but sometimes God takes the sickness from the person, and other times he takes the person from the sickness.
Yeah, seriously.
And
yeah.
I believe that's what has happened to your brother.
Definitely.
So when you say it's a relief, that's not like, well, you know, it's not that you don't want to see him anymore, like that you will see him again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
And that he is in peace now, and you know that God's got this. God's bigger than this anyway.
Seriously.
And that's why I love Christianity, is it's so much bigger than like this. I had no idea you're going to come in and your testimony was going to be similar to with 2 deaths in the family. That's I don't think I've ever talked to anybody that's had that.
It's not done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No more death, but just like pretty hectic. So at the same time, Mitch passes away. Mum, like a month after, gets diagnosed with rectal cancer.
Oh.
Oh no.
And yeah, that's been hectic. So this is kind of when I started year 11, so my 2 final senior years. And Mum gets diagnosed with this kind of rectal cancer, and it's a pretty grim kind of outlook, I suppose, or like diagnosis. You know, big operations required, and then like 6 to like a 2-year kind of recovery, and like 6 months of chemo, radiation, and it was full on. Like, she was not home for ages, but when she was home, she was so sick, throwing up, just like, it was like really bad. And it was kind of sad because she'd always say, like, when Dad like went through it, like, she could only understand so much, but like going through it herself is just like, she'd say, she's just like, it's, you can't know until you experience it. And it's like such a, kind of a grim thing, I suppose. She has this huge journey with that. And that's in my senior years. And it was pretty hectic because then home just was me and Ben, really. Ben and I, we just did everything. You know, he'd cook, I'd clean. And we'd just look after Mum, and I'd go to church and work at Macca's, and then he's a builder, so he'd work as well. But like we'd always just kind of come home and do stuff, and it was weird. I think that was because I was also coming like strongly into faith then, like the whole like day-to-day kind of relationship with God. Like I had this what do you call it? Daily. Oh my gosh, I read one every morning. Most mornings.
Like a soap.
No. Devotion. Yeah, daily devotion. That I clung to. It was given to me it was given to my brother, and then I ended up having it from the school that I went to, and that was sick. Like that was awesome for me because I'm not like I didn't grow up much of a reader. It's something I'm definitely developing to this day. So that was something that I could do and was achievable, and like I could also like commit to and like dedicate. Anyways, that was huge for me. But it changed my whole perspective kind of on life because I don't know. It brought forward in time so much of what I value and like where I find like hope and like what I'm putting what am I valuing in life. And so like my senior years, I was a pretty average student, you know, like I wasn't, I'd go pretty all right in my marks. But it just kind of became more about like relationships and like nurturing the Christ-like in me, I feel like, and focusing on the day-to-day. And it was a pretty interesting 2 years because for me, look, I had like this big physical kind of manifestation of emotional trauma in my life. An unhealthy relationship at the time also links to that. One that was like worldly, in and out of high school. But I just had this crazy anxiety, right? So every night, it was always at nighttime when I'd like go to bed, and like I'd think, and then I'd like think to like a point of getting sick, and I'd throw up, and it happened like 2-3 times kind of a week. Wow. And that was like probably like physically one of the most draining things for me because like I'd just be up so late, either trying not to throw up and then getting to bed because I'm just too tired and I forget about thinking, or I'd throw up and then just go to bed after. And it was pretty full on, and it ties into like allergies. I have allergies. Like growing up, I'm allergic to nuts now, but I'm very kind of intolerant to many foods, and if I'm not eating right, it'll really kind of stir up my system. And anyways, it's a whole web of whatever there. But I had this sickness that was pretty hectic for ages, and then just doing so much at home. But I don't know. Time kind of goes by. I guess I get through the years, and I saw a psychologist actually for a year and a half, 2 years. Actually, I don't even know, a year and a half, which is amazing. Wasn't Christian though, but still awesome. Yeah,
we had Mel on.
Yeah.
I don't know what podcast this is going to go up in what order, but she said the same thing. Like, wasn't a Christian psychologist or anything, but like plays a role.
Seriously. Sure. And like they're professionals in dealing with the mind, I suppose, and understanding many involuntary or voluntary reactions that the body and mind can have. And you just, learn so much, and it kind of brings peace in a way because you're less like, these things are happening and like there's no kind of reason I can't understand, and there's more, whereas it becomes more, this is kind of a natural reaction to this and this in your life, and like I don't know, you just learn a lot, and you find ways to deal with it, like for me, sitting up straight and like taking deep breaths is a good one. Helps me like not be sick and digest food and yada yada. But that was awesome, and went to another youth group as well. So I'd moved on from the one with Jordan, and went to one with my kindergarten best friend, Jed.
Nice.
That was sick. St. Phil's. So still not at the Pentecostal youth, or the Pentecostal church yet personally. But I went to Stills for a year. That was a year and a half. Super sick. Great people, great memories. But yeah, it was special going with Jed kind of through that, and because he'd kind of been my kind of faith friend, I guess, for a long time, and I'd game with him a lot. Like the years, it's been sick. Like I remember back in the day, like early PS3 days, just like Black Ops 1, Kino de Toten zombies. Like,
that's how the best memories were made.
Oh, so good. Or at the MW2 lobbies or MW3.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so I went to that youth kind of throughout it, and then year 12 comes around, which is our final year, and then big HSC exams, and I'm already kind of pretty far removed from the whole like importance of these final exams. It's a pretty hectic pressure over in odds, it means a lot. It takes a huge toll on kind of people, and but I was more again focused on like what I like really value in life, and like putting hope in like what will supersede kind of what is momentary in life, and kind of nurturing the Christ like, I guess, in me, and growing that like day-to-day practical kind of relationship. Then I don't know, kind of finish high school, do kind of well in my exams, but halfway through my final year, I go to my church that I'm at, Horizon. Mum invites me along because she'd been going to Hillsong, but Horizon was closer to us, but still Pentecostal. She's like, "You're gonna love it. Like, I don't know, the kids mosh and like blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever." Like, that sounds interesting.
I love that. Like, I feel like I'm too old for that, but when you go to a church and there's a youth Sunday, and like the kids are up front, like absolutely praising Jesus.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's mad. Our young adults
just with the heart abandoned, eh?
Yeah, man. They don't care because
Yeah.
everyone else is doing it.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I have a vision that's what heaven's like.
Oh yeah,
Like
Totally. Heart abandoned, definitely.
It's heart abandoned, for sure.
praise 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the,
Good times.
well, they cherubim, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The crazy angels. Holy, holy, holy. All day long. That's all they're saying.
Yeah.
So bizarre.
It's in Revelations. Yeah.
We're definitely going to have to do another podcast because you're like the closest person. Like, this testimony is amazing. Like, in terms of what God has done so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like seeing your maturity, like at this end, and hearing where you've come from.
Yeah, I'd like
It
to
definitely
I'd like to
grew
do
you a
a
lot.
hardship one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring you on that topic.
Oh.
You've got a microphone at home anyway, so you leave on Sunday, so
Yeah, easy.
we'll definitely
Yeah. But,
call you up, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But sorry, carry on with you.
Yeah, we'll finish off your testimony anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Finish high school, end up Horizon. It's just amazing. Like, I feel so connected, like, especially kind of coming into adulthood, so turning 18. But just like feel like so at home, and just the community, how genuine the people were, are, and just the kind of production side to it as well was something that definitely was like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm super kind of techie. So it was just all like a culmination of so many cool things, like my social and my extroverted, introverted side. Just, it was amazing. And I got plugged in so quickly. Started serving on like photography teams and like doing screens and stuff like that. And then, kind of finishing school and then interning at the church. So that's Tuesdays, 9 to 5. I'm doing that again this year. Which is amazing. Do so much for the youth. So COVID last year kind of gets crazy and stirs everything up. But like, I'm going pretty good. Like, Mum's kind of settled down by this point to a degree. She's still kind of has to watch her eating a lot and hasn't got so much control over certain things.
Well, that loss of a child is going to...
Yeah, and more the rectal cancer stuff as well, like the whole, that kind of... Cause,
that's true.
Yeah, so just managing that after like operations to remove things and then COVID's pretty hectic. The interning becomes just making YouTube videos for the youth for a year,
Nice.
which is crazy. But then at the end of last year, she actually gets re-diagnosed. It was so out of nowhere. And it was crazy, like December, legit December. And then December 21st, she goes in for 10 days, misses Christmas, gets back New Year's Eve. And so like they fully remove her bowel because it came back right in this exact same spot.
Wow.
That was chemo and nuked essentially.
Yeah.
Which is very bizarre. Good that it didn't spread to somewhere else, but bizarre that it came back to the spot that was just like should be a dead zone kind of thing. But that has been pretty full on because we'd actually started kind of big home renos at the time.
Yeah. And
she has this huge op. And that to this day, she's like recovering. So like from January to March, or up until I left to come here, really like mid-April.
Praise the Lord.
Just like, it's so like couldn't drive, can barely walk, like can't leave the house, like just so debilitated because she's had so much kind of taken away and like lots like nerves readjusting and reconnecting. It's like a whole 6 month kind of intense kind of recovery, like 2 years fully, but like 6th month to kind of start to feel normal again.
Yeah.
But
and she's got Ben obviously to
so Ben was around with but again just kind of turned into what it did in year 11 for me, which is just like him cleaning him cooking, me cleaning, and just like looking after mum, doing everything, which was hectic. I kind of thought that chapter was over in my life. But it kind of came back and, so weird. Through it all as well. I don't really kind of want to mention this, but I will for the sake of kind of, justice to how I am currently. But had a relationship that kind of started, at the end of last year, around when mum, I waited until she was like out of hospital and she was going to be like okay to start it because I didn't want to enter into something on unhealthy grounds like I had before, just for comfort. Anyways, started this relationship with someone that is at the same church and that does youth stuff, and it was just a super amazing thing. Huge blessing. And I don't know, that kind of ended recently. But it was, strange, I suppose, unexpected. Nothing went wrong or anything. It was just, just the way it kind of went, I suppose. But, it kind of brings me to now, which is this kind of hectic time away.
Yeah.
Being able to do stuff for myself, but also finding myself like yielding, like pretty hardcore, just to like the will of God, and just
I don't know about you, Todd, but you can see that.
Oh yeah,
you can see you yielding to what the Holy Spirit's wanting you to do.
Super humble.
Yeah, He's given you incredible understanding, and I don't know anybody that could go through what you've just shared and come out stronger like you have. And that's going to, speak to so many people that are listening to this. They're going to, sometimes you get dealt bad hands. Sometimes somebody passes away or multiple people pass away in your family and there's no reason at all. Sometimes you think, I could have done more with, maybe your brother with his addiction, or sometimes you couldn't have done anything with your father.
Yeah.
And that just shows you like it's there's a really good quote that says, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow.
That's good, yeah.
And I grasp onto that every day because, I have those similar anxiety attacks that you have.
Totally.
And that I run to things like that. And I think being grounded in Christ keeps you, it makes you stronger in all this. And I can see that so clearly with you. You come in, we meet for the first time about a week or two ago, and click straight away. I think you're talking to my wife at the start.
Yeah,
Laura.
she was so welcoming. Oh my gosh, sat down for like 5 minutes and she just like came up to me and it was like nice. It was so genuine and just like just chill. It was great.
Yeah, I think I was ignoring everybody because I needed to listen to the song or something because I'm the drummer at church and I hadn't practiced it. But you are incredibly strong, and like you can see that you're really digging into the Holy Spirit and you're taking that discipleship under Ben seriously, and it's causing amazing action in your life and wisdom and understanding beyond anybody. How old are you? 20?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was meaning, I'm like, you're so
Wow.
like you've had a lot go on in your life that you've matured very quickly.
You remind me of David, actually, in the Bible.
King David.
King David had a heart after God. Like, that's all he was. He didn't make some good choices sometimes. And there's heartbreak in there as well. But sorry, I'm interrupting you, Todd, but he's known as the heart after the Lord. And that's all, like, you can just see that represented in you so well.
Yeah. I mean, you're only 20, so, like, I'm pretty keen to, like, get you on.
Seriously?
Like, you've got, because you said you're doing the internship stuff with youth. Like, would love to, us being old farts, you know. It'd be cool to get you on and talk about that and, like, how to encourage youth and...
stay tuned.
Yeah, like, follow up on your passions and hear about where God's taking you and stuff, because your maturity is going to keep growing, and that wisdom is like how Ben gave it to you. Now would be awesome to get from you and pass it on to someone else that may be needing it.
Like, and that's the thing, like you said, Joel, like, for me, like, kind of the biggest kind of proof of God, in quotation marks, my fingers, or like assurance I kind of have in him is like who I am today. And like I've just like lived this life and like have this hope. Like, I'm 20, like, and I'm so excited for what's to come because of like my faith and what, you know, I guess I've been through.
I cannot wait to see where you go.
Yeah, that's it. And like, for me at the moment, like, especially with youth and just even in the world, like, man, I've been prosecuted pretty hardcore over here actually by workmates, like legit. It's been so interesting. Like,
I believe it.
Yeah, it's been very interesting.
I would prosecute you if I was a worldly person.
But yeah, it just brings me to this point where I wish I could just show everyone my life, show everyone the intricacies that God has like been a part of. And like, I wish I could just show everyone, because then like, you know, it would just have, I don't know, you know, it would help people understand, I guess, or it would, you know, like, because everyone's so caught up in the, you know, did this really happen? Did he, like, but what about this? And da-da-da. But it's like, I don't know, we are saved by faith. And it's like, as a result of that, like, so much can happen in life.
Your most powerful attribute is your testimony. So I don't know anybody that could probably come up to you off the top of my head and say to you, you don't know what I've gone through.
I guess so, yeah.
You know, but and that's really powerful, because how many Christians have never had anything happen bad, like nothing bad to them. Yeah. And I think a lot of worldly people go, well, nothing's happened to you. Of course you love God, and everything's roses and chocolate and rainbows and unicorns. But for you, you've gone through the trenches and you come out still going, Jesus is Lord. Yeah. And he is King.
Yeah. You're definitely given two paths to take.
Yeah.
when Ben came into your life.
Yeah, seriously.
And like, praise God that you followed that light.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been great to talk to you and
Thanks, Tom.
like even just meet you for these few weeks.
I know, it's so memorable. Oh, I'm glad. Like, just so many God things on this trip, and this is just one of the kind of greatest kind of out of them. Just meeting you guys and being involved with City Impact, because so many amazing people. And
we hope to see you in New Zealand soon.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, no, we'll probably just finish up now.
I'll be back.
Thank you so much for coming on the Jesus Magnet podcast. You are an inspiring man.
Thank you.
And please listen for more. If you like this episode, let us know. Tell us on Facebook or Instagram or however you want to get in touch with us. Just let us know, because we love to hear it. We love to hear if these stories are helping and these testimonies, because God's real. We'll see you on the next time on the Jesus Magnet.
Ciao.